what life looks like, and how we can apply our thoughts there, how we can change the way we think just slightly or add some element to our life that will change the way that we show up. And mindset, if you've been watching for the last week, is like a shower. It's something that it's great that you do it once, just kind of like when you go to the gym, but you have to keep doing it because it is something that you are constantly using every single day. So we need to be exercising our mental muscle so that our mental muscle is strong when we are facing the world, because we know all you need to do is get in your vehicle, drive somewhere, turn on the news, or maybe just even step foot in the office, and life can get a little crazy. That's just how it is. There are always things that are going on. So we want to be prepared mentally, because this is where we're going to keep it together. This is where it's going to unravel. This is where you're going to find your strength. This is where you're going to find your weakness. This is where you're going to find everything. The magic happens in the 6 inches right here. So that's what we are all about on Mindset in the Morning. And yesterday we talked about, when you are pushing through, stop and do this. And we talked about what that is. So often we get in this mode of we're pushing. And if we just push through, then we're going to get to the finish line or whatever it is. And then everything's going to be okay. And we just keep pushing through and pushing through. And we talked about yesterday on the show that I had been watching an example of this woman, and she had been just pushing through, and she went on autopilot, and she forgot that her child was in the vehicle, and it was a hot vehicle. And unfortunately, the child didn't make it. So it is very, very dangerous when we just continue to push through. And as dark as that may be, and if you are watching this live and this is morning for you, it is a heavy topic regardless. But we can all learn from each other. And I truly believe that this woman's story was to help give us all a wake up call, because it can be dangerous when we push through. And I know we all have tons of things going on, and we need to pay our bills, and we need to, get our job done. And we've got kids, and we've got relationships, and we've got all the things, and we have to do it all, right? But is there a way that we can still do it all and not maybe in one day? So we're talking about the push through and how we can deal with this. And so yesterday, the most powerful thing that you can do is what? Ask yourself, how are you feeling? We need to have that level of connectivity with ourselves, because when you know yourself, you win all battles. Sun Tzu said that. When you know yourself, you win all battles. There are things that will trigger me that are not going to trigger you, and things that will trigger you that won't trigger me. There are things that irritate you that don't irritate me. There are things that bother me that don't even come on your radar. We are all different people. I'm sure there are some things that, there's probably a high majority of people that find sitting in traffic very annoying. There are other people that may find that very peaceful, because they can listen to an audio book. That means they can unwind from their family. Maybe things are really chaotic at home, and the only time they get a little bit of downtime is when they're in their vehicle. So a little bit of traffic is a good thing. So we all have different ways that we respond to this world. So it's important you get to understand who you are and how you're feeling. That is literally the first step in everything, because as Sun Tzu says, when you know yourself, you win all battles. So if I asked you, what makes you happy? What makes you angry? What makes you, we just fill in the blank. Would you have an answer for that? Do you know in all situations how you would feel, how you would want to respond? You see, when we have that level of connectivity with ourselves, then we're starting to get deeper, and we're able to then say, okay, now what? Now what? So today we're going to talk about the now what. Now, when I know how I'm feeling, And we know that we don't want to be in a state of suffering. And I define suffering as anything that doesn't make you feel good. It could be anything from embarrassment to stress, anxiety, fear, frustration, anger, resentment, boredom, embarrassment. These are states of being that we don't feel good. I have yet to meet somebody who's like, yeah, I like to be bored. I like to be embarrassed. I like to be angry. I like to be frustrated. No, we want to be in a beautiful state of being, which I define as peace, clarity, flow, joy, kindness. This is where we want to be. So we want to work ourselves out of this state of suffering. So when you ask yourself, hold on, how am I feeling? Ask yourself, remember, 4 words, 1 question. Does this serve me? And this is the most powerful question. We talk about it a lot on this show because this is the most powerful thing that you can ask yourself. Does it serve me? And it's something that I want you to get in the habit of thinking about, but really think about this question as it applies to everything. So, does it serve me to feel this way? Does it serve me to feel angry? Does it serve me to be bored? Does it serve me to be anxious? When you know the answer, then you can take the next step. So, does it serve me to be anxious as I'm pushing through? Does it serve me to be stressed out as I'm pushing through? Is this adding value to my life? We know that these states of suffering have been linked to physical ailments, cancer, diabetes, heart attack, ulcers. So it is this dangerous state of being for us to be in. So we don't want to be there. So when we know the answer to does this serve me, and the answer is no, then what? Then we start to move into solutions. Because before we're just pushing through. We're just pushing through the anger. We're pushing through the resentment and the anxiety and the stress and the frustration. And we're just getting through it. And we're carrying that around with us. And your mood may be going from high to low, high to low. If you were anything like me, that's what I was doing. Because when I told people that I had an issue with anger, they didn't believe me. Because when they saw me, I was very happy. They saw me come into the office and I was managing teams and I would smile at everyone and, say good morning, say hello, talk by the coffee pot, whatever that may be. But my entire drive into the office was charged almost because when I drove, I had a lot of things to say to people and they weren't nice. So I was angry that the train would stop me as I was going into work and it would tack on 2 additional minutes. I would get really angry. And so I would be way up here by the time I got into the office. And then I'd come down some. And then maybe my coworkers would do something really stupid and I would go back up here. And then I'd come back down. And then I'd drive home at the end of the day and I would come back down. So I was constantly fluctuating throughout the day. And what does this do to me? It's constantly just pumping toxins into my body of those, cortisol or whatever defense mechanism, could be adrenaline, whatever was going on with my emotions, my body would react to that. So I was not doing anything because I wasn't stabilized. I was high, I was low, I was high, I was low. I wasn't at a constant state. How does that serve me? It doesn't. It didn't make me feel good. And I was just pushing through and I never stopped to think. I mean, sometimes we think pushing through is just, I got to get to the end of the day. But it is sitting with those emotions that we don't necessarily want to have. But how do we even get to that point of knowing that we don't want to have them? You have to ask yourself, is this where I'd want to be? Is this how I want to feel? So call it what you want. Does this serve me? Or ask yourself, same thing, this should have the same outcome. Is this where I want to be? Is this the best thing for me? If I had a choice, is this what I would choose? It is literally the same question. So, does this serve me? You got to stop and say, okay, how do I feel? Is this where I want to be? Does it serve me? Am I at my best when I feel this way? And if you are being honest with yourself, because if you're not being honest with yourself, then what are we doing here? If we're not being honest, then we might as well just continue on throughout our day. How are we ever going to address anything when you're not being honest with yourself? I remember when I was in the hospital, when I was in Italy many years ago, and I really only knew one word at the time, and that was see. And so I just said, see, see, see. And I just said yes to everything. And I had no idea what I was saying. And a gentleman that I was dating over there, he came into the hospital and he said, you know what, Jen, when you tell them yes to everything, they think that you understand and they think that everything is okay, or they think that everything is not okay. He said, you have to get honest. You have to just stop trying to talk in Italian or letting them pretend that you understand. And you have to find another way to communicate. So all I was doing was pushing through that situation, just trying to get through this thing by saying the one word that I really knew in Italian, which was yes. And I wasn't solving anything. I was telling them there was pain when there wasn't. I was telling them everything was fine when it wasn't. I was not doing anything. And although I wasn't trying to be dishonest, the point of my story is I needed to be honest about my level of understanding, that I didn't truly understand the questions that were being asked of me. Sometimes I would kind of understand a little bit and I would change my answer to no, but a lot of times I just said yes. See, see, see. They may not have even been asking me a question. I just said see because it was like what I knew. And I was in the hospital. And, being in a hospital in a foreign country is, it's a totally different experience. And so I felt comfortable with the word yes. And so that's what I used. But I wasn't being honest with them in my level of understanding. And I needed to do that. And so do you. You need to get honest with yourself with what you are feeling, with if it serves you to be in that state of being. And you don't just, it's not just in that situation. Ask yourself, when I act this way, does it serve me? Maybe you're so angry and you throw something at the wall. Maybe you're throwing a tantrum. Maybe you are in a fight with your partner and you just slam the door and walk out. Maybe you just shut down and you stop talking. Maybe you start getting really stubborn. Ask yourself, does it serve me to act this way? When you are able to connect with the emotions, with the feelings, with the actions as they are happening, and you are being honest with yourself, then you're able to take control over yourself. I always say, and you've heard it here if you've tuned into the show, are you happening to life or is life happening to you? And the way we can tell if life is happening to us is if we are just going through it and we never question anything. Are we just going through, we feel these emotions, we don't second guess them, and we just continue on? And if you are in a state of suffering, I will clue you in, life is happening to you. Because if you got really honest with yourself and you said, does it serve me? Is this a place that I would want to be? Is this how I want to act? Your answer would be no. If you are throwing an adult tantrum, if you are being stubborn, If you are yelling, if you are putting your fist through a wall and you said, hey, is this the legacy that I want to leave? Is this how I want people to remember me in my life? Is this what I want to be known for? Is this how I want my behavior to be? I mean, your answer may be yes, but more than likely, it's no. If you are getting really honest with yourself, I mean, take out that anger, but how can I not be, mad? How can I not be? So if you really just take that anger out and you took all the emotions out and you just looked at the data and you said, is this the person that I want to be? Is this a legacy that I want to leave? What would your answer be in that moment? And I'm not saying this is easy, because our emotions, we're reacting to something. They are valid. They are valid emotions, whatever you are feeling. But don't allow whatever reaction comes to take over. Take control of them. You are the one that's responsible for your happiness and your peace and all of these things that we talk about over here in this beautiful state of being. You are the one that's responsible for that. If you say, well, I'm not responsible for my happiness, then you are playing, ready? I posted on this the other day, Russian roulette with your happiness. If you allow other people and situations to determine how your day goes, then you leave it up to chance, not choice. You want to be in the driver's seat of your life and take control and always be making the choice, putting you first, putting your happiness first. When we are pushing through and we are not stopping to ask ourselves how we are feeling and hold on, is this where we even want to be? Is this how we want to act? Is this how we want to feel? Is this how we want to react? Are these the people we want to be around? Is this serving me? We want to get to this point and be honest with ourselves, because this is where your power starts. When you are able to look at the situation and say, okay, emotions out. I know my reaction is, I want to be angry. I want to be stubborn. I want to walk out of this house and I want to slam that door. I know that can be our reaction. I've been there. Sometimes I still want to do that. I'm human. This isn't to say that I don't go through these too. I absolutely do. But being able to catch this is when your life is going to change. This is when life is no longer happening to you, but you say, hold on, I'm in the driver's seat and I get to control where we go. So I see that there's something in the road. All I need to do is drive around it. All I need to do is take a different path. All I need to do is make one little change and get out of the way of this thing so that it doesn't impact me. I don't want to drive head on into this thing. You see, you are in full control, but you first have to realize that you are. So you got to ask yourself, how am I feeling? And then ask yourself, does this serve me? Is this where I want to be? Does it benefit me to act like this, to feel like this, to react like this, to act to this, to be around these people, to be in this place? Does it benefit me? Does it serve me? Is this where I'm at my most powerful? Is this the legacy that I want to leave? If this was the last time that you were here on earth and this was the last action that you had and you were going to be remembered for it, is this how you'd want to be? It's the best thing that you can do for yourself and everybody else is to connect to that piece of you. Because if you are truly honest, then you are going to find answers that probably do not align with how you're acting. No, it doesn't benefit me to be like this. How can I make a more powerful decision for me? So as you go out in the world today, I want you to connect to that person. And once you understand when you're getting real with yourself, say, does this serve me? Does it benefit me to feel this way, to act this way, to be this way? Ask yourself that and get real with the answer. Is this the legacy that you want to leave? Life is just one step at a time, one thought at a time. We don't need to look at it as this overwhelming. It's just one step at a time. Get control of your thoughts, know yourself, and win all battles. I am Jen Sugarmeyer. I'm going to leave you with that. I am your host of this daily show. We are here live 5 days a week at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Mindset in the morning. If you have not yet hit that like button, if you've not yet hit that subscribe button, please go ahead and do that because that will help somebody else today who needs to hear this message. So go out, think about these things, become the most powerful person that you can be. Get in the driver's seat of your life. And I will see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow. All right. Have a beautiful one. Cheers.